Peoples, Kyushu92 here, bringing you yet another One Piece Reflections for the last day of March. It is March 31st, and we're entering into the month of April tomorrow. So as you guys know, every end of the month, bar February, because I kind of forgot that February only has like 28 days, so I missed that one day, so it led into March. But every end of the month, I give reflections on the past chapters of One Piece that we get. And we got 4 chapters this month, which was chapter 935, 6, 7, and 8. First one being Queen, second one being the Great Sumo Infernal Tournament. Then the next one is Gyuki Mato on Ohoihagi Bridge. And then the last one we get this month is called Her Secret. Now, starting with 935 Queen, this is where we get first introduced to Queen himself. He's a very flamboyant subordinate of Kaido. And, well, let's just go through the whole short summary real quick. So, in Ebisu Town, Law, Usopp, and Frankie meet Tono-Yasu, who reveals that Zoro has gone after someone who stole his sword, and the two notices that Sanji is gone as well. And during this time, we already know that Zoro is horrible at direction. But apparently someone stole his sword, so he went after him. And the thing I kind of realize is, Zoro never loses his direction when he's chasing someone. I mean, he could just walk casually with you, and then he'll just turn off to the left for no apparent reason at all. But this dude's sense of direction is perfect when he's chasing someone. So he's going after this person who stole the sword. Meanwhile, we cut to Nami and Robin and Shinobu in a bathhouse discussing all their plans and how things are going, and how isn't it sort of risky for us to be in a public bathhouse? And also, it's also a mixed bathhouse, so you got tons of guys just staring at Nami and Robin. Shinobu, for some reason, think that they're looking at her. I don't know, maybe there's a guy for her looking at her like that. But they're all just discussing their plans and how things have gone so far, you know, bar the whole big giant fiasco that happened at Oroshi's castle at the banquet there. And Shinobu's like thinking about like Hyugoto the Flower, who used to be the number one top overlord boss, Yakuza boss of Wano, and he was well respected. And how they was thinking that, well, if we had him on our side, then we could gain followers a lot easily, like 5,000 at most, like hands down. But if we don't have him, then 500 is probably the most that we can gather. So as this is going on, it's pretty much just, it's really just a recap of what's going on a little bit. I want to say that it focuses on more of Luffy, and sorry, I got like a little something right there. But Law, Usopp, Frankie, and yeah, Law, Usopp, and Frankie are talking to Tono-Yasu, and then we cut to the bathhouse where Shinobu and them are talking about all the things that are happening and how having Hyugoto the Flower would greatly benefit them, but they don't even know if he's alive or not, because apparently from the reports they say that he's dead, and we kind of know that that's not true because we cut to the prisoner mine and Luffy gets introduced to Queen for the first time, and Queen is flamboyant. He's like a stage performer. He's still brutal, but he's like a stage performer. Like, he has this big old performance in front of his crew members, and as this is going on, we see Luffy's attacking the guy who I come to find out his name is Babanuki, I want to say either the Elephant Man or the Scorpion Man, I forget which. And Queen decides that, you need to pay for what you done. And then we have Raizo trying to steal the keys, preparing to free Luffy, when he unexpectedly comes face to face to the man inside the cage in the prison, who we come to know as Kawamatsu. Now, we still don't see his face in this chapter, but we kind of find out a little bit more about him. And the last words we see of this panel is Lord Momonosuke safe? And Raizo is just like completely surprised to see Kawamatsu. So that's pretty much what happened in 935. We got a good view of Queen, and we had a few things revealed a little bit. Like in the next chapter, I think this is where things get really, really interesting. So let's go ahead and move on to chapter 936, the Great Sumo Infernal Tournament. So at this time, Queen puts Luffy and Hyugoto in collars that are akin to those used by celestial dragons, but instead of them exploding, blades come out of this collar to decapitate whoever I guess, goes against the rules of that collar. So Queen decides that in order to punish Luffy for laying a hand on headliners and wardens and pretty much breaking the rules of the mine, he says, let's just have a fighting tournament, a sumo tournament. You step outside of the ring, the collars on your necks will expand the blades inside and decapitate you on the spot. You have but one chance. You can either die here, or if you manage to beat all the people that enter into this ring, you're free to go. So, and he says, I'll even give you a handicap. I'll take off your sea stone handcuffs. And of course, those of us who know Luffy know that this is not a handicap at all. Like, sure, it makes him slightly weaker, but once you take those off, those are like akin to Shadow taking his rings off of his gloves and shoes. He just, like, his power just shoots all the way up. But Queen doesn't have any idea just how strong Luffy is. And I don't think anyone has even told him how Luffy and Kid have been working harder than anybody else in the mine. Like, literally delivering 500 stone blocks in a short amount of time and just using their strength alone. And mind you, they're devil fruit users, so they have slightly weaker versions of sea stone handcuffs that slightly makes them weaker, and with them being devil fruit users, it's a lot more prominent on them. So for them to be as strong as they are with sea stone handcuffs, Queen taking off these handcuffs has literally removed the only thing that could keep his men safe from Luffy. I mean, granted, they kind of still weren't safe when he had the handcuffs on, but they're made even less so without them on. So, Luffy just goes a couple of rounds with some of the guys that get into the ring, and they're all decimated, either by him beating them or him just using Conqueror's Haki. So, as this is going on, we cut back to the Flower Capital, and enters Basil Hawkins and Diaz Drake. They come into the same bathhouse that Nami, Robin, and Shinobu are hiding at, looking for people who have like a tattoo on their arm, a tattoo on their ankles, or anyone related to who may know who Soba Mask is. Because at this point, they still don't know that it's Sanji. And at this point, Sanji is still missing. Because in the last chapter, I forgot to mention, Sanji had completely disappeared. Because in the chapters beforehand, he was musing on whether there were any bathhouses nearby. Because, you know, it has been his lifelong dream to gain invisibility so he can just peep in on women, naked women, in the bathhouse. So, he's gone. And I'm pretty sure most of us predicted this. He was going to go to a bathhouse just to spy on women naked. So, Basil Hawkins shows up to the bathhouse with Diaz Drake looking for Soba Mask. And as they get there, they spot Nami and the rest of them, and they start questioning everybody. And in a moment of, let's call it a time skip happiness punch, Nami's towel falls off while she's speaking to Basil, and she just happiness punches everybody, including Diaz Drake, who gets knocked out. He actually falls over in utter, I don't know what the appropriate word would be. I wouldn't say in utter amazement, but I would just say shock. In utter shock of Nami's in other shock of Nami. I was trying to find some word, but I didn't want to turn it into an innuendo, because I've been told that some of the sentences I say can lead into that. But in the height of the moment of seeing Nami and her everything, he gets knocked down, and Basil's all like, "Are you from the East Blue?" "Yeah, so what?" "Well, it's been known that men from there tend to get overcome by whatever when they see a naked woman." So as this happens, we find out that Sanji's there too, and he's been invisible this whole time, just peeping. So in the confusion that comes from the time skip happiness punch, Sanji grabs Shinobu, Robin, and Nami and they all go shooting off into the air, and everyone is just still confused by all the things that were going on. But he also lets us know that Shachi, Penguin, and Beppo have been captured, and that if they don't find Law, then Law is liable to do something rash that could, in a way, pretty much ruin the plan that they got sorted out for everything that happened at Onigashima and the big banquet between Kaido and Orochi. So it would make things extremely more difficult if Law was left to his own devices when he finds out that his crew's been captured. So as that goes on, Zoro runs into the guy who took his sword. And it's this unnamed man in this snowy area. He goes after him, and both him and Zoro are fighting. And he's all like, dude, give me back my swords. Other guy's all like, dude, no, I'm not giving you your swords. This belongs to Ryuma. How did you come across it? You're a thief. Why do you have one of Wano's national treasures? You don't deserve to have this sword. And they both get prepared to fight one another. And that's pretty much the end of the chapter. So we have Nami's happiness punch. We have Sanji peeping on women. We have found out that the Hearts Pirates who came with Law to Wano have been captured. Luffy is decimating the Great Sumo Inferno tournament that's going on. And Zoro's fighting this man in a snowy region of Wano to get his swords back. And apparently this man knows so much about Ryuma and his sword that he immediately stole it from Zoro, and they are fighting at this point. But the main point is Nami's happiness punch. And that is chapter 936 so far. As we move into 937, Gyuki Maru on Ohaigi Bridge. So we find out this man's name. And Gyuki Maru is questioning Zoro, kind of wondering how do you have Zoro's sword? But it starts out really that Luffy is wiping out everybody that Queen sends into the ring. And Queen is content to just sit and watch. But mind you, in the beginning of this chapter, Big Mom is still heading to Udon, which is the prisoner mine if you haven't been keeping up. She's heading to Udon with Chopper, I want to say Kiku, and Tama, along with Momonosuke. They're heading to Udon. And Big Mom is all wondering, like, when can I get some more, what is it? What is it called? Shiruko. I don't know the correct pronunciation or enunciation of that. So if I'm saying it right or wrong, let me know so I can... You guys know me. I like to pronounce things properly. But Big Mom is thinking about the Shiruko. Thinking about, I want some more. Hopefully they'll have some at the place we're going. And mind you, at the same time, while Queen is watching Luffy beat up all the fighters that he sends into the ring, he's just sitting down chilling. Netflix and chilling. Just eating Shiruko by himself. And he says that he's brought so much with him. And the first thing that popped into my head when I read this was... Big Mom is going to beat him down for the Shiruko. Because if she don't get it, she'll go on another hunger pang attack. And we've seen that nothing can stop her. Some things can slow her down, but nothing can stop her. So while this is going on, Big Mom and Chopper and the rest of them are heading to Udon. Queen is watching Luffy fight. And we cut back to Ohaigi Bridge, where Zoro is fighting this man named Gyuki Maru, who we find out is a bandit who steals swords from those who he sees as unworthy to possess them. And if I read that whole subtitle wrong, then please forgive me. I'm just paraphrasing. I got some food here and I want to get to it and I want to go ahead and eat a little bit, but I had to send this video out to you guys, so I apologize if it's being sent late today. But Gyuki Maru is wondering, why do you have this sword? There's no way that you can have this sword right now. It is impossible for you to have this sword. Why do you have the... and we find out that Ryuma and his sword Shusui are the two national treasures of Wano itself. So Ryuma had to have done something incredibly astronomical in his past. I was actually hoping that we would get some more info on Ryuma as a whole. We don't, unfortunately, but that doesn't make the chapter any less awesome. Zoro is fighting this guy, wondering like, dude, that's my sword, Ryuma gave it to me. Gyuki's all like, you're a liar, there's no way Ryuma could have given this to you because Ryuma is dead. Gyuki Maru has no idea that Ryuma was resurrected with a person's shadow back in Thriller Bark. Now, I know that was a minute back, but I kind of wonder, how did Gecko Moria get Ryuma all the way to Thriller Bark? And if he's saying that Ryuma is buried, then does Wano not know that Ryuma's not there? Maybe? I don't know. Something to wonder about. And they're fighting, but as this is going on, we have a woman who appears to be Toko running towards Zoro. And she's begging Zoro for help, and she's all like, please help us. And he's all like, alright, but what's it to me? And he's all like, we'll pay you handsomely for it. Give me some food and some good booze, and I'll help you. Because they apparently have someone chasing them. And it's this madman looking slasher guy, who we come to find out is Kamazo, the manslayer. We'll find that out in the next chapter. We find that out that it's Kamazo chasing this woman and Toko. And Zoro defends them, and that's when, well, in a short summary, we find out that Gyukimaru is just still trying to, I'm trying to get all the pieces together correctly. We find out that Gyukimaru is, in between Zoro fighting Kamazo, he is still trying to fight Zoro, looking for an opening, like, you left yourself wide open. I'm gonna wait until he's distracted, then I'm gonna try and hit him. Like, and Zoro's all like, dude, don't you know the rules of engagement? I'm fighting someone here. Don't try to fight me. I'm not trying to focus on you. I'm trying to kill him. So Gyukimaru is constantly distracting Zoro until he gets Zoro so distracted that Kamazo manages to nail Zoro right in the shoulder. And we also find out that Kamazo is just a title that he has for the newspapers. He's actually secretly Orochi's #1 top assassin. So, given the fact that he's an assassin and he's coming after Toko, we can surmise that Orochi sent him after Toko because Toko was laughing at him. Like, Orochi petty. Like, this grown man petty. I don't care if he's got the Yamato no Orochi model snake fruit. Dude is petty. Like, it's a kid. Why you... but it's... Zoro gets stabbed in the shoulder with one of the Kamazo's scythes. And it looks dire because Zoro doesn't have 3 swords at this point, and he says himself he prefers not to fight without 3 swords. So afterwards, he takes the scythe out of his mouth and he uses that in place of Shusui, because that's mainly where he has Shusui, in his mouth. He takes the scythe out in his mouth and he, in an instant, using Purgatory Onigiri, he cuts down Kamazo in an instant just flawlessly, even with a gaping wound in his shoulder. So after he takes down Kamazo, that's pretty much the end of the chapter, and Gyukimaru's just looking on. Then we get to the final chapter of this month, Her Secret. Now, mind you, the thing we find out in this chapter goes completely over my head. I'm going to elaborate further when we go into it. So, Zoro takes down Kamazo, and Zoro falls over due to going unconscious due to his wound, and the woman and Toko take him to the Northern Cemetery in Ringo. That's where they are right now. And they treat his wound, explaining that they were forced out of the flower capital after, Toko went on a laughing spree against Orochi. And then we find out that this woman is none other than Komurasaki. This went completely over my head. Kyushu, how did it go over your head? It was blatantly obvious. You want to know how it went completely over my head? This is coming from a guy who had a girl a long time ago. This was a long time ago. It was at my church. She would constantly ask me to teach her how to play the trumpet. And she was never musically inclined. Word for word, she would say this: hey, I'm going to need you to come over and teach me how to play the trumpet sometime. Now, me, being the oblivious man that I was back then, was all like, okay, man, yeah, okay, sure, just let me know. Just let me know when it'd be a good time. I was so oblivious back then. I knew, and I was thinking, I've never seen her pick up an instrument before. Maybe she wants me to teach her. Back then, I did not know that she did not want me to teach her how to play an instrument. It wasn't until recently, I want to say last year, that it finally dawned on me, like, oh, she doesn't want me to teach her how to play the trumpet. No one else knows this. I have never told this to anybody else. But yeah, years ago, I did not realize that she was not interested in learning an instrument. I guess she was interested in something else. So yeah, needless to say, that whole reveal went completely over my head. So, it didn't dawn on. It turns out that Komurasaki is none other than Hiyori Kozuki. Kozuki Hiyori, Momonosuke's long-lost sister. And she's 20, she's like 20 years older at this point. And at this point, I bet she's wondering if Momonosuke is like 20 years old as well, not realizing that Momonosuke, Kinemon, Raizo, and Kiku have all been sent into the future. So, yeah, that whole reveal, it was surprising to me. But at the same time, the main fact that Komurasaki is not dead, and is actually Hiyori, and she's alive, it went completely over my head. Now, I know some of you have said, I've read it in my comments, that the fact that Hiyori, it was Komurasaki, and also Momonosuke's sister was a bit on the nose. It was, like, kind of really obvious. Not to everybody, if you haven't been able to notice. But, yeah. Meanwhile, Kinemon is getting reports that the people who serve Orochi and the Beast Pirates, they now know of the plan of finding people who serve the Kozuki family. Those that have like the crescent moon-shaped tattoo on their ankle and the calling card, they've discovered this. And they're arresting all the people who have these things on them, which is kind of causing the plans to go awry. And as that goes on, in Ebisu Town, Shinobu believes that the Heart Pirates revealed the significance of the message and wants to leave them to die. Law's all like, no, you're not going to kill my teammates. Because Shinobu thinks that, well, because they got captured, maybe they're the ones who revealed the message going on. So, as this is going on, everyone is arguing with each other. Kanjuro is arguing with Shinobu because of her ideals. Law is arguing with Shinobu because Shinobu wants to kill them and silence them in order to keep any other information from leaking out. Then we have Yasu come in, Tono Yasu coming in with a calling card, wondering if it's time for the final battle. So, and that's the end of chapter 938. I'm just reading like a short synopsis here so we can keep on track here. Mind you, there's a lot of things going on. We get the reveal of Queen. We get the reveal that Komurasaki, aka Hiyori Kozuki, is alive. And we cut back a whole bunch of time. We cut back once back to Kyushiro. Like, what did he do? Did he not even leave a fatal blow on her? Or maybe that was a body double. I don't know. But Komurasaki, aka Hiyori, is alive and out there with Zoro right now. So, it makes me wonder why Kiyoshiro did what he did. Was it just for a spectacle, to spectate? Or maybe to cement himself as Orochi? Or maybe he's a turncoat. Maybe Kiyoshiro is a turncoat under the disguise of serving Orochi, and he actually serves the Kozuki family. I don't know. Because why else would Komurasaki be alive after Kiyoshiro clearly made it blatantly clear and like in front of everyone, he made it appear like he just cut her down instantly because of what she said to Orochi and disrespected the Shogun of Wano. So, it makes me wonder, why leave her alive? What else is going on in the background for Hiyori Komurasaki to be alive right now? Because as far as Wano knows, the entirety of Wano, she's dead. Everyone's preparing for her wake. Everyone's preparing for her funeral. The whole city is in an uproar because of the death of the #1 beauty of Wano. So it's got me thinking, like, what is really going on in the back? Like, we know so little. We know so much and yet so little at the same time. So it's just got me wondering. Then we got Luffy decimating in the Great Sumo Inferno Tournament. We got Big Mom heading to Udon still, craving Shiruko, which Queen has. And Queen has said himself that he's not giving it up for anybody. Might have an issue when Big Mom shows up. Then we got Nami and them, and also a funny thing that happened in the most recent chapter, Sanji got beaten senseless. He got the taste slapped out of his mouth. He got baby clapped. He got Omae wa mou shinderu by Nami. Like his face, you guys remember, I said this in the last week's chapter, the most recent chapter, how Vivi was slapping Usopp multiple times during the whole Drum Island arc, I want to say. Yeah. Nami did that to Sanji times 10. So, yeah, his face is... Frankie's looking like, is it even possible for a person's face to swell up that big? And I'm surprised Usopp didn't chime in and says, yeah, it's possible. But, yeah. There's been some very interesting chapters for the month of March, especially one in my birthday month. It's actually been a good month for me, and a good month for us One Piece fans, because I feel like we still haven't scratched the surface of what's about to happen in Wano. I mean, we've seen numerous things happen since this year started and since last year, but this month as a whole, I actually think that we actually got some good chapters. Now, mind you, they weren't chapters where we was just like left speechless at every single moment, but they were all still phenomenal chapters. Oda has been on his game. Like, he's been constantly on his game. Me personally, this is just my own opinion, I can't find any fault with any of the chapters that we've had over the past weeks, for March. I can't complain about any of them. Sure, I wanted to know more about Ryuma, and I was actually hoping that we would get some more info on him. Like, his name has been dropped numerous times in these chapters, but we haven't got any more information other than the fact that he and his sword Shisui are known as the national treasures of Wano. And we also got the concept of a person turning their sword black, because Zoro said that this is not the first time he's heard this concept, and he also wants Gyukimaru to elaborate on this more, because Ryuma made his sword a black sword, and as we know, black swords are of the highest grade type swords in all of the One Piece world, with Mihawk's sword being a prominent example. And it makes you wonder, how does one make their sword black? Because it's not just simply painting one. Does it have to do with hockey? Does it have to do with the user's spirit, or maybe something that some sort of either weird sword ritual or swords that have to do with swordsmen? It makes one wonder. So I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get more on Ryuma this month, but all in all, I'm actually glad that we got so much more happening in Wano as a whole. And it makes me wonder, what's the arc after this? We're still in Wano, and we've all been looking forward to Wano for such a long time. Yet we have no idea what's going to happen after this arc is over. The uncertainty of it is amazing. I mean, I'm just so glad to be a One Piece fan, a massive One Piece fan, because this year has barely even begun. We are ending the 3rd month in a 12-month year. So we have so much to look forward to. So that's pretty much my summary and review of the chapters as a whole. I thought all of them were good. I'm still disappointed we didn't get more info on Ryuma. I really hope that we get some info on him in the month of April as we transition into that. So that's all I pretty much have to say as the chapters as a whole. Let me know what you guys thought of all 4 chapters that we got this month. For all of us who live in the U.S., I don't know how the chapters go out for any of you who live outside in either Europe or in different countries. So if you have chapters that have come out in days before March, and they happen to be the chapters that I've talked about, or they come in after March, then let me know what you thought of these chapters as a whole. I'd like to know what you guys think of the direction that One Piece is going in at this point in time. So I hope you all enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you all in the next video. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples!